Good evening and welcome. Tonight, we're diving into a political landscape that just shifted dramatically. President Joe Biden announced he will not seek re-election, leaving the Democratic Party to find a new standard bearer in the race for the White House. This is a pivotal moment for the Democrats. They need a candidate who can unite the party, energize the base, and ultimately convince the American people they are the best choice for the job. The stakes couldn't be higher. With Biden out of the picture, the field is wide open. A number of prominent Democrats are waiting in the wings, each with their own strengths, weaknesses, and visions for the future of the country. Over the next few segments, we'll be taking a hard look at the top contenders, evaluating their strategy, their popularity, their qualifications, and their experience. We'll break down their chances of securing the nomination and ultimately taking on the Republican nominee. First up, we turn to the current Vice President, Kamala Harris. As Biden's right hand, she's arguably the most visible member of the administration, and her time in the White House has undoubtedly given her invaluable experience on the national stage. But does name recognition automatically translate into votes? Harris will need to define herself beyond her role as VP, articulating her own vision for the country and demonstrating her leadership capabilities. Her experience as a prosecutor and Attorney General of California, along with her time in the Senate, provides her with a deep understanding of the legal and political systems. However, she'll have to convince voters she can handle the complexities of the presidency. Can she build on her current platform and rally the Democratic base? Can she overcome potential criticisms and present herself as the best candidate to lead the nation? These are questions Harris will need to answer decisively in the coming months. Harris faces a unique set of challenges and opportunities. As the first female vice president and a woman of color, she represents a significant demographic shift in American politics. This could energize voters looking for representation and a break from the past. However, she'll need to navigate potential biases and prejudices that still exist within segments of the electorate. Her policy positions, often aligned with the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, may alienate moderate voters the Democrats need to win. Finding a balance between appealing to the base and attracting independents will be crucial for her success. The coming months will be critical for Harris. She needs to capitalize on her current position, articulate a clear vision, and connect with voters on a personal level. The path to the presidency is arduous, but for Kamala Harris, it's one she's already begun to navigate. Next, we have Pete Buttigieg, the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and former transportation secretary under the Biden administration. Buttigieg surprised many with his strong showing in the 2020 Democratic primaries, ultimately losing out to Biden. His youth and fresh perspective on American politics resonated with many voters, particularly younger generations disillusioned with traditional politicians. His military service, including a deployment to Afghanistan, adds another layer to his resume. However, Buttigieg's limited experience in government, particularly on the national level, may be a hurdle he needs to overcome. His tenure as transportation secretary was marked by both successes and controversies, leaving voters with questions about his ability to manage complex issues. Can Buttigieg convince voters he has the experience and the vision to lead the country? Can he once again capture the energy and the enthusiasm that fueled his previous campaign? The answers to these questions will determine Buttigieg's fate in the upcoming election. Buttigieg's campaign strategy will likely focus on his ability to bridge partisan divides and bring a fresh perspective to Washington. His experience as the mayor of a Midwestern city could resonate with voters in key swing states. However, he'll need to address concerns about his ability to handle the complexities of foreign policy and national security. His time as Transportation Secretary will be scrutinized, with opponents likely highlighting any perceived missteps or failures. Buttigieg's ability to connect with working class voters, particularly those who may have shifted towards the Republican Party in recent years, will be crucial. He'll need to articulate a clear economic message that resonates with their concerns and anxieties. The Democratic primary will be a test of Buttigieg's ability to build a broader coalition of support. He'll need to energize young voters, appeal to moderates, and convince skeptics that he's the right person to lead the country into the future. So, Joe Biden is out. It's a seismic shift in the political landscape, no doubt about it. And the question on everyone's mind is, who will step up to fill the void? Who will capture the imagination of the American people and lead the Democratic Party into the future? One contender already generating considerable buzz is Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. A stalwart progressive voice, Warren has long been a champion for working families, taking on Wall Street and corporate interests with a tenacity that has earned her both admiration and animosity. Warren's campaign will likely focus on her signature issues: income inequality, access to affordable health care, and holding corporations accountable. Her detailed policy proposals, like the wealth tax, have sparked national conversations and positioned her as a thought leader within the Democratic Party. But the road to the White House is long and arduous. Warren will need to navigate a crowded field of contenders, each vying for the hearts and minds of Democratic voters. One of the biggest challenges facing Warren is the perception that her progressive policies may be too far left for moderate voters, a demographic crucial for winning the general election. Her opponents will likely attempt to paint her as a radical, out of touch with the concerns of everyday Americans. To counter this narrative, Warren will need to articulate her vision in a way that resonates with a broad coalition of voters. She'll need to convince moderate Democrats and independents that her policies are not just good for progressives, but for the country as a whole. This will require a delicate balancing act, staying true to her progressive principles, while also demonstrating a willingness to compromise and build consensus. Can she effectively communicate her message of economic justice and opportunity in a way that transcends ideological divides? That remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: Elizabeth Warren is a formidable force in American politics. and her presence in the race is sure to make this election cycle one for the history books. Bernie Sanders, a name synonymous with progressive politics, a two-time contender for the Democratic nomination, and a figure who has fundamentally reshaped the political landscape. Sanders' impact on American politics is undeniable. He's galvanized a generation of younger voters, pushed the Democratic Party leftward, and forced a national conversation on issues like income inequality and health care. But the question remains, can he capture the Democratic nomination in the wake of Biden's departure? His supporters, a passionate and dedicated base, believe he can. They point to his consistent message, his unwavering commitment to working class Americans, and his ability to energize the electorate. However, Sanders faces challenges. His opponents often paint him as too radical, too far left to appeal to moderate voters needed to win a general election. And at this stage in his career, the question of age and stamina for such a demanding role is unavoidable. Despite the hurdles, Sanders' campaign strategy is likely to remain consistent with his previous runs, a focus on grassroots organizing, a populist economic message, and a call for systemic change. His base of support, largely made up of young progressives and working class voters, remains deeply loyal. However, he'll need to expand beyond this base to secure the nomination, particularly courting African American and Latino voters, crucial for a Democratic victory. Sanders' qualifications are extensive, with decades of experience in public service as a mayor, congressman, and senator. He's known for his deep understanding of policy and his commitment to social justice. Whether he can convince Democratic voters that he's the best candidate to lead the party into the future, to defeat the Republican nominee, and to unify a fractured nation remains to be seen. Amy Klobuchar, the senior senator from Minnesota, presents herself as a pragmatic, results-oriented leader. She's known for her sharp wit, her ability to work across the aisle, and her focus on finding common ground. Klobuchar's campaign strategy centers on her appeal to moderate voters, particularly in the Midwest, a region crucial for Democratic success in the general election. She often emphasizes her record of bipartisanship and her ability to get things done in a gridlocked Washington. However, Klobuchar faces an uphill battle. She lacks the national name recognition of some of her competitors, and her more moderate stance may not energize the Democratic base in the same way as more progressive candidates. Additionally, past criticisms of her treatment of staff have resurfaced, raising questions about her leadership style and temperament. How she addresses these concerns could be pivotal to her campaign's success. Klobuchar's experience is extensive. She served as a prosecutor before entering politics and has a reputation for being a tough but fair negotiator. Her supporters point to her record of legislative accomplishments as evidence of her ability to govern effectively. Her focus on issues like infrastructure, healthcare, and rural broadband aims to appeal to a broad swathe of voters, particularly those in the heartland who may have felt left behind in recent years. However, Klobuchar will need to articulate a clear vision for the country, one that goes beyond pragmatism and offers a compelling alternative to the current administration. Can she generate enough excitement and enthusiasm to break through a crowded field and capture the Democratic nomination? The answer to that question will depend on her ability to connect with voters on a personal level and convince them that she's the steady hand needed in uncertain times. The sudden departure of Joe Biden from the presidential race has upended the Democratic primary, leaving a void to be filled by a diverse field of candidates, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Kamala Harris, with her experience as vice president and her ability to energize the base, presents a formidable candidacy. But questions linger about her policy positions and her ability to connect with voters on a personal level. Pete Buttigieg, the young and charismatic former mayor, offers a fresh perspective and a message of unity. Yet his lack of national experience and his struggle to appeal to minority voters remain significant hurdles. Elizabeth Warren, the progressive policy wonk, has energized the left with her ambitious plans and her focus on economic inequality. However, her ability to win over moderate voters and her perceived lack of electability remain concerns. Bernie Sanders, the stalwart of the progressive movement, continues to inspire with his unwavering commitment to social justice. But his age, his past losses, and the perception that he is too radical for the general electorate pose significant challenges. And then there's Klobuchar, the pragmatic senator who touts her record of bipartisanship and her ability to get things done. But she faces an uphill battle against better-known opponents and must overcome concerns about her temperament and leadership style. The stakes couldn't be higher. The outcome of this election will have profound consequences for the future of our nation. It's imperative that the Democratic Party unites behind a nominee who can defeat the current administration and restore America's standing in the world. The road ahead will be long and arduous, but the future of our democracy depends on it.